Hey, it's Courtney Thomas. Hope you are having a great day. So today's video falls under this category, which I had mentioned is one of the big themes of this whole area, this whole channel, my whole philosophy, and that's, isn't there another way? Which I will caveat and say that the whole point of that question is that yes, there always is. So what I want to talk about today is specifically, funny enough, how that applies to this channel itself. So I have an entire blog post about kind of how I came to this decision of why I wanted to start this channel and why I wanted to do it in the way that I'm doing it specifically. But what's funny, as it always is, it's not always super cut and dry, right? Like it's not as always as cute as the internet shows you. So I feel really, really good about that. But interestingly, after a few videos, after a few weeks of this kind of being out there, I'm still thinking to myself, like, should I have done this? Was this a good use of my time? Oh my God, are people gonna care? Are they even gonna watch? Like, are my clients gonna see this? Are new people gonna see this? Is it gonna be good for my business? Is it gonna be good for me? But deep breath, because all of that stuff is just external crap. It's just noise. It's all of the stuff that kind of comes at me from this side of like, what the internet says you should be doing, right? Shoulds, expectations, other things that we see, all of this input that we're getting about how we should run our business. And you know, the interesting thing is I've been doing business online for probably 5 years now. I got in fairly early, and from that very beginning, things have changed, certainly, but there have always kind of been these like rules of how you should do things and the things that you need to absolutely do, or the ways, the methods, the systems that are going to get you clients or buyers or success or audience or engagement or whatever that may be. And I've gone through my phases of trying the things. That's, you know, a lot of times how you end up finding what works in business or in your business specifically is a little bit of trial and error. But over time, you know, it also starts to reveal itself like what really makes sense. And so these feelings that are coming up for me are natural, right? Because I'm still engaged in the online world. I'm still seeing other things and I'm doing this differently. And it's natural to feel some resistance against that. But ultimately, the bottom line is that yes, there is another way, and I'm going to do it the way that makes sense for me. So what that comes down to, and what I always recommend for my clients who are kind of struggling through either using a certain system, fitting into a certain box, questioning what they should be doing, it's this combination of knowing your business inside and out, right? So I did a bunch of research on ultimately where my clients were coming from. Like I kept hearing like, this is how you need to do this. This is where you need to be. This is the content that you need to be putting out and on which platforms and all of this good kind of stuff. Meanwhile, I look at the actual data itself and I'm seeing like, this isn't working. Like if I want engagement and I want conversion, people to talk to me essentially, to get on a call with me, I'm not seeing it from these things. Why would I continue basically beating my head against the wall with these things, right? So there's data to back it up. And I'm looking at that and saying, okay, so where are people coming from? Where am I getting engagement? Where are people interested in seeing and hearing what I have to say? And where are they clicking through ultimately to then continue that conversation? And that's ultimately where I got the information that led me to, you know what? I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing on my website and on my email list. And also I'm going to add in YouTube, which complements those things because again, I know what my clients are looking for, what they might be interested in, how they might be wanting to engage. And that all, again, complements each other and kind of builds up the package versus spending time in other directions or places that don't make sense and don't produce those same types of engagement that I want to be getting. So that's one side of it, right? Like know your business and know all of that stuff, have that information. You don't have to go super crazy with it, but then you got to combine that too with your own intuition of what feels right. there's a lot that goes into that of, you know, ultimately like what your vision for your business really is, what's meaningful for you, what types of conversations you want to have, what are your values, both personally and professionally, and how is all this stuff going to align? And for me, again, it's about the stories, the conversations, and things to think about. So this is another way to deliver that. Again, like most of the time I'm a long form writer, but if you don't want to spend 15 minutes reading a really long blog post or email from me, great. Maybe you could watch a 5 or 8 or 10-minute video while you're, I don't know, on the treadmill or something, or like listen to the audio while you're taking a walk and get the same information and feel really good about that. Everybody's in a different place, but two, it's fun for me to have these conversations. So it's just an additional thing that not only I know is good from the business sense, that I'm not just following that, you know, that path of just what the internet tells me I should be doing, and adding in what I know is going to be good for me and for my business. And I'm feeling a lot more excited about it. That's a huge point. That can't be understated. I think we do underemphasize that a little bit, no matter whether it's entrepreneurial or working in any setting, really. Like there's something to be said for just feeling good in a space, right? So again, it's kind of a mix, you know, when you're making these decisions of like, okay, isn't there another way? Like, can't I look at this differently? Like, yeah, definitely. It's always going to be a mix of tried and true and trial and error, a little bit of intuition, certainly understanding your data and your information, knowing yourself and what you want and your capacity and your capabilities, and certainly having an idea then of what your, you know, ideal client, if you will, or your audience wants too. And ultimately, each one of those things is probably a conversation for its own separate video. All of those things take a lot of work to get to. That's not like, oh, well, I know every one of these things like right off the bat. Not necessarily. That takes a little bit of time too. But you can get to all of that. And the whole idea is, you know, that's really what works in business. It's this whole combination of things. It's not just, well, this worked for this person, or this person is saying it worked for them, which is, again, maybe a whole other video conversation. So that's the whole idea today of, yeah, there's another way. And when this other stuff comes up, because you're going to work through all of those things, like I said, to kind of get to this point, similar to where I did with the videos, like this is what I want to do. That's not saying that you're never then going to have questions and have insecurities and have these little like niggling fears pop up that say, oh my God, I made the wrong thing. I'm not sure if this is going to work. I don't know. What if this is wrong? Guess what? It might be. But it also might not be, you know? So it's worth doing this. You've likely thought about it over and over and over again. You've probably done the research, kind of whatevered it to death, right? I know I did. But again, combine that with your intuition and what you really know deep in your soul. And that's a pretty winning combination for how you want to move forward with what your visualization is for your business, regardless of any of these little like, oh, is this gonna work? That stuff. Write it down, but then let it go. Those are just fears. Those are insecurities talking. We don't need that stuff, right? So is there another way when it comes to all this good internet business stuff? Yeah, there always is. And that's a conversation I love to have too. You know, what are the things and the systems and the methods and the whatevers that you have tried? You know, what feels good to you? What might you be a little freaked out about doing? What questions do you have right now? Throw it all at me. You can always put it in the comments. You can always email me through my website on the contact page. I share a lot more of this stuff, again, via those long blogs, but I love to have the conversation here. So let me know what your experience has been with this, whether that is internet business or otherwise. And I hope that you have a great day and you think about doing it another way today. Thanks.